everyone, my name is Yuki. I'm 7 years old. I'm going to read this book, Magic Tree House. This is book 3, Mummies in the Morning. Chapter 1, Meow! The tall oak tree house was still at the same place. About lunchtime, Jack and his 7-year-old sister Annie were standing in front of the tree house. Jack heard some coughing, but Annie didn't hear a ding. She went up to the tree house and called, "Jack!" down the tree house. Jack was looking around. He thought about all the empty. Who owns the tree house? What was the mysterious person's name? Does he want the gold medal and back? Does he want the leather bookmark back? What do M stand for? Jack said loudly, "He'll bring everything back tomorrow!" Jack went up to the tree house after Annie called again, "Jack!" Annie picked up the castle book. She was surprised it was dry. What? They went to the night's time and fell in a castle book yesterday. A mysterious night yesterday. Then Annie picked the dinosaur book. The day before yesterday, they went to dinosaur time. They were saved by the pteranodon from the T-Rex. Jack took an Egypt book from Annie. The page with the bookmark had a picture of a pyramid. There was a long parade toward the pyramid. The 4 huge cows with horns pulling a sled and pulling the sled. On top of the sled was a gold box, following with many Egyptians. The last was a black cat. Meow! They decided to see the real pyramids. This time, since Jack was interested in them, Jack reminded Annie to bring the Frog Creek book. They will need that book to come back. Jack made a wish to go to the pyramid. A black cat showed up beside the window. It looked like the cat in the book. Suddenly, the treehouse started to spin and the wind blew loud. After the treehouse stopped spinning, Jack heard meow! Chapter 2, Oh man, mummies! The treehouse stopped on a palm tree. Coconuts. They saw the same black cat. They looked out the window. The parade was toward the pyramid, just like the picture in the book. Jack got the knowledge from the book. The parade was an Egyptian funeral. The coffin was called sarcophagus. Annie asked Jack to go down quickly if he wanted to see Mummy. Yay! When they almost reached the parade, strange thing happened. The parade disappeared all of a sudden. Only the pyramid is still over there. Jack told Annie it must be a mirage. Annie didn't buy it because the cat was still there. Meow. They followed the cat and saw it enter a hole in the pyramid. Chapter 3, It's alive! They looked into the hole. There was a hallway with burning torches on the wall. Jack read the book. The information showed the pyramids can be called houses of dead. Most of the pyramids were made of stone. They went inside of the pyramids and hoped to see the cat. Jack searched the burial chamber from the book. They need to go deeper since it would be in the middle of the pyramid. They heard a strange noise, and the live mummy flew to them. Chapter 4, Back from the Dead. The mummy passed them and vanished. They were shocked. Annie saw a gold stick carved with a dog's head, just like a scepter usually carried by the king or queen. The mummy dropped it. Annie called the mummy to come back. Come here. Come back. Jack stopped Annie and looked for the answer from the book. Jack thought it was a tomb robber instead of a living mummy. Jack got interrupted by another figure. Annie said it was a beautiful Egyptian lady instead of a tomb robber. The lady stopped in front of them. Jack gave the lady the scepter, but it passed through her hand. Chapter 5, The Ghost Queen. They thought they saw a ghost. Jack was so scared. The ghost started to speak. Her name was Hutupi, the queen of Nile. She had been waiting for someone to help her for 1,000 years. Jack felt like he was gonna faint. He was speechless. The queen told them she needed the book of deeds so she can go to the next life. The book had the magic spells which could help her pass through the horrors of the underworld. The queen's brother hid the book away from the tomb robbers. He carved the hieroglyph messages on the wall. He hoped the queen could follow the hint and find the book. Unfortunately, her brother forgot the queen has eye problem. So she never got the chance to see the hint clearly. Although Jack had glasses with him, the queen couldn't use them because she was made out of air. Jack and Annie helped her to read the message. Chapter 6, The Writing on the Wall. Jack and Annie were looking at the wall and they found a series of tiny pictures. There were 4 of them. The queen asked them to help describe them one by one. The first one was easy and it looked like stairs. The second one looked difficult. It had a rectangle with squiggly lines. Jack thought it was a hat. Annie felt it was a boat. The queen smelled and said it could be a boat. The third was like a jug. The last one looked like a carved stick to Jack. He tried to draw it in his notebook very large and hoped the queen could see it. The queen said it was a folded cloth. Jack and Annie looked at the 4 hieroglyph messages and they couldn't figure out what that meant. Suddenly, the queen asked them to follow her and led them to her burial chambers. Chapter 7, The Scroll. They followed the queen, Hecate, and they found stairs. I'm going upstairs, I'm going upstairs, I'm going upstairs, I'm going upstairs. They entered a dark room and Queen Hecate was nowhere to be seen. They found a boat inside. Oh, I'm on a boat and a couple of wackos sinking my hips and dipping my fat toes in the water, dipping in the water. They wondered if this boat is gonna bring the queen to her next life. They looked inside the boat. They found pour it into your cup. Jack looked inside the jug and found a fourth message. Folded cloth. Folded. Then they slowly unfolded it and found a scroll wrapped inside. They were so excited because they found the Book of Dead. After they finally found the book, Annie said, "Hepathy." No answer. They heard a door creak open. They entered and saw a large golden box. Jack said, "Hepathy." Again, no answer. Chapter 8, The Mummy. Mummy, yay! Jack and Annie went close to the gold box. It was Queen Hepathy inside. Annie was afraid about what she just saw. Queen Hepathy was wrapped with bandages. Jack and Annie could see Queen Hepathy's face because the bandages near her face came off. Some other parts of the bandages came off too, and they could see her bones. Annie was very scared, but Jack was brave and wanted to look more. Jack wanted to return the Book of Dead to Queen Hepathy, but Annie was so scared and she ran away. Jack gently put the scroll inside the gold box and gently putting this into the small box. It seemed that Queen Hepathy's face became calm. When Jack slowly walked to the door, he followed the path back, but he couldn't find Annie at all. He shouted for Annie, "Annie!" and finally found her. Annie cried and said she got lost. It took them a long time, but they couldn't get out. Jack remembered the paths they saw must be false passages. They needed help or they could never, ever get out of the pyramid. Chapter 9. Follow the leader. I'm following you, I'm following you. Jack and Annie put their hands on the wall. Suddenly they heard a meow, meow, meow. They traced the sound and found the black cat. Meow. They followed the black cat until they got out of the pyramid. They looked up at the palm trees, then saw the tree house. They walked to the tree house higher because it was hot. Give me water, I'm hot. And far away, finally, they made it to the tree house. They looked out the window and saw a boat. They thought Queen Hepathy had moved on to another life, but they didn't know for sure. They wished to go back, and the treehouse started to spin. Then it spun faster. The wind blew harder and harder. Then it was absolutely still, just still. Chapter 10, Another Clue. When Jack and Annie were back, Jack hooked their mom with peanut butter and jelly. The treehouse wasn't very tidy, so they cleaned the treehouse. When they moved away the books, Annie found him on the floor. Jack wondered who wrote it. They heard their mom shouting in the distance. Then they ran back home and enjoyed their mother's peanut butter jelly sandwich.